Greetings everyone, and welcome to the channel. It's Londononion here with a weapon-specific deck build, and the weapon we're going to be analyzing a build for is the UZI SMG. Now, generally I would say there are two, though technically three, aspects of building a weapon/weapon class specific deck. There is the more strengths-based build, and the compensatory/balancing build. A third option would naturally be a hybrid, which is probably the most reasonable, but every weapon is different and has its own strengths and areas of need to varying degrees. Now, with this in mind, on a smaller scale, I will categorize potential card selections into four designations: related, compensatory, synergistic, and preferential. Although Back 4 Blood already has its own designations for cards, I prefer to use my own. And before we start, it is important to note that there are 1,000 ways to build a deck. The most I can do is showcase how I prefer to optimize this weapon's capabilities. So starting off with the related cards. Related cards are the ones that directly impact/buff the attributes or effects of a given weapon/weapon class. The cards in this category are Speed Demon and Mag Carrier. Speed Demon grants a 6% increase in move speed and 35% in reload speed while using an SMG. Meanwhile, Mag Carrier increases ammo capacity by 30% and damage by 10% for both SMGs and pistols. Now, although the UZI already has very good mobility and reload speed, I choose to employ both of these to maximize on its strengths, which would grant a not only fast-firing weapon, but also one with even shorter intervals of rest in between mags. Additionally, for those who were present for our UZI review, the damage is very low, and having the damage increase can only be of benefit. Now, moving on to the compensatory cards. Compensatory cards are meant to counteract the weapon's main weaknesses, or balance out its areas of need. In the UZI's case, its penetration, damage, effective range, and to an extent its handling are its main cons. Now, there are a number of cards that can alleviate each of these areas, such as Shredder for increased damage, which also can compensate for receding damage with range, Front Sight Focus for accuracy, and Combat Training, or large caliber rounds for bullet penetration. But we must remember, there are only 15 slots worth of cards, and personally, if I had to choose between a jack of all trades or a specialization, I'm more of a specializer, so naturally my choices here will be biased. The main compensation I prefer to focus on is damage, especially towards mutations. So I choose Confident Killer, Shredder, Ridden Slayer, and March for Death. Each of these, in unison with the two related cards we selected earlier, should create a reasonably higher damage SMG with an already killer fire rate. But ironically, the compensatory cards are low on this onion's priority list. Moving on to the synergistic cards. These are cards that have impacts to increase areas of strength or work to optimize the effects of other cards or one's choice of character. Now, the UZI's main strengths lay in its mobility, fire rate, and reload speed. Now, since I have a bias for specialization, I prefer to sacrifice slots that could have been used for compensatory cards to increase the UZI's strengths to mastery. I choose to go with Hellfire, which increases move speed by 45% while firing and 5% while not firing. Reload Drills, which increases reload speed by 20%. Cross Trainers for increased mobility and stamina/stamina regeneration. And Mandatory PT and Ammo Pouch for an increase in ammo capacity. The UZI is quite capable of burning through its ammo, and increasing the already fast reload speed, not including attachment effects, will only exacerbate ammo expenditure. So having greater ammo capacity should allow the UZI to fire on marathon levels of proportion. Additionally, the mobility cards will allow an UZI user to be a master of kiting mutations. Now, part of selecting synergistic cards is supplementing one's secondary. Sometimes, secondary choice can be dependent on one's character selection, but we will discuss this at the end of this video. Carrying on with this build, I choose to have a melee weapon as a supplement to the UZI, because it is already a short-range weapon, so I prefer to create mastery, or specialization, with short-range tactics, given that my card selection thus far already has enough mobility and stamina to counteract immediate threats. So the cards I choose to aid with melee are Batter Up for 40% increased melee damage and 5% increased health, Face Your Fears for 2 units of temporary health for a kill within 2 meters, and Battle Lust, which heals 2 health for every melee kill. Both of these cards work together in maintaining a close-range fighter's health. This build so far creates a Sonic the Hedgehog-like build, fast and effective, though one-dimensional and limited in balancing, but that is just my preference. The whole idea is, mastering an ability, such as speed and movement, one will have to worry much less about how much damage they put down, or how controllable their weapon is, because their mastery pretty much allows them to compensate for the rest of their shortcomings. Our last area of card selection is the Preferential Cards. These are cards that are completely unrelated to the weapon and its strengths/weaknesses, but still a useful feature, and this is where the most nuance can take place. Given that we only have 1 slot left, I choose to give it to Grenade Pouch. Personally, I like to have more than 1 offensive throwable, particularly to aid with mutations. With a fast-moving build and weapon with maxed out mobility, offensive throwables act as more of a damper on how much kiting must actually take place. But this is a preferential card nonetheless, so really there is a number of different cards that could take its place. But based on my playstyle, it is what I prefer. Now, our last area of discussion is the character choice. For those who aren't able to guess who I built this deck for, it can fit with either of 3 characters. Evangelo, for his stamina regeneration and increase in move speed, Holly, for her increased stamina capacity and bonus stamina per kill, and Hoffman for last, strictly due to his ability to find ammo with each kill, which can also benefit the UZI, and also as an offshoot he comes with an extra offensive inventory slot. I would say Carly is an alternative, but may require a slightly different build. Otherwise though, that concludes the build. Thank you guys for joining me on this one, and in our next deck build, we'll be covering the M1 Sniper. It's been Londononion, and I will see you guys next time.